Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel, and I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I would just like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem, and some people who I thank every time who've inspired me, and I hope they can do the same for you. And I will have links to their sites below this video so you can check them out. They are Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yossi Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Rabbi Alona Nava, Rav Daniel Asor, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Nisan Baruch Black, David Sachs, and Jews for JUDAISM, Rabbi Michael Skobac. So we are continuing with this book, Sefer, if you want to call it, Praying with Fire, and about talking. Talk in Shul, where do you pray? This is part 4, and there could be a part 5. I'm not quite sure. We'll see if I will continue. So last time I left off, we had talked specifically about places that you should not be talking, specific places when you're during the tefillah, during the davening. And there was one part we didn't discuss yet, and that's Chazaras Hashatz. That's when the Chazan does a repetition of the Shemona Esrei. So this is for day 84, Chazaras Hashatz, sending the message. Talking during prayer, as the preceding days illustrate, ranges from a habit best avoided to a sin of unbearable proportions. The most serious impact, however, arises from conversing during the Chazan's repetition of the Shemona Esrei, known as Chazaras Hashatz. During this segment of prayer, talking is strictly forbidden. And it says underneath the notes that it is permitted, however, for a Rav to answer a halacha question that is posed to him during Chazaras Hashatz, as according to Aruch HaShulchan. Continuing on, the Shulchan Aruch rules, when the Shaliach Tzibor repeats Shemona Esrei, the congregants are required to be silent and apply their minds to the blessings made by the Chazan and respond Amen to them. The Mishnah Brura comments that one should avoid saying supplicatory prayers or studying during the repetition of Shemona Esrei. Even one who applies himself to the end of the blessings of Shemona Esrei, enabling him to answer Amen, also acts improperly. If those who study Torah turn to their study then, other less learned individuals will learn from them not to listen to the Shaliach Tzibor and will engage in idle talk, heaven forbid. They will thus cause many people to sin. So that's why it's important, because you're setting an example. So if you're doing something different than everyone else may think that it's okay to talk. So that's important to remember. Talking during Chazaras Hashatz can also cause the Shaliach Tzibor's recitation of the blessings of Shemona Esrei to be almost in vain. The Shulchan Aruch rules, if there are not 9 people applying their minds to the Shaliach Tzibor's recitation of the blessings of Shemona Esrei, they are almost blessings said in vain. So that's very important to remember, that we don't want that to happen. Therefore, everyone should act as if there will not be 9 people doing so without him and applying his mind to the blessings, the blessing the Chazan is saying. Meaning, if everyone thinks that there aren't going to be 9 people paying attention, then everyone will pay attention. Rabbeinu Avraham, the son of the Rambam, said that his father considered, listen to what the Rambam says now, his word we can hold very highly, in high regard. His father considered those who speak during Chazaras Hashatz to have committed a great sin, because they show disdain for the honor of heaven. Similarly, the Shulchan Aruch Harav comments concerning those who speak during Chazaras Hashatz. Quote, whoever speaks in the Beis Knesset says during the time that Tzibor is busy with the praise of Hashem, which is Chazaras Hashatz, shows that he has no portion in the God of Israel. That's very strong words. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach wrote that this is a Chil Hashem, as those who act this way sit in the temple of the king and humiliate his name. So basically, you're there in a place that's supposed to be holy with Kedusha, and you're just basically taking it like it doesn't matter, like as if you're just in another room or in a lunchroom or something. Like, we can just talk or do whatever we want. It's like people forget that this is a holy place. I'm sure during the time of the Beis Hamikdash, you probably weren't even allowed to open your mouth. I don't know. I don't know how it worked there, but I'm sure not. I'm sure there was absolute holiness. Like everything was so sacred. You didn't do anything to make any Chilul Hashem. Continuing on, speaking during Chazar Shashatz is condemned by the Shulchan Aruch, using the harshest language seen in any discussion of transgression. One could almost conclude from this admonition that there is no worse sin. Quote, one should refrain from speaking profane words during the time the Chazan repeats Shemona Esrei. And if one spoke, it is a sin, and in bold letters it says, and the sin is too great to bear. Nowhere else in halacha is the expression, quote, and the sin is too great to bear applied. Except where it says here, one who speaks during Kriyas HaTorah is a sinner whose sin is too great to be forgiven. In fact, although all agree that it is a great sin to eat on Yom Kippur or desecrate the Shabbos, even in those cases the halacha does not state that, quote, the sin is too great to bear. Could it be that so many people blithely commit an act that the Shulchan Aruch describes in this way? By taking a deeper look at what happens when we speak during Chazaras Hashatz, we will be able to understand the great destructive forces with which we are dealing. With that understanding, we will gain the motivation to step back away from the edge of disaster and aim our words and hearts towards heaven. You know, people just think of, when I read that word like disaster, you think, oh, physical disaster. But this is a spiritual disaster, and that's much worse in the long run. So we are going to continue and explain this. This is Chazar Shashat Sending the Message Part 2, Day 85. Yesterday, so it's saying according to the day, we explained that if one talks during the Chazan's repetition of the Shemona Esrei, Chazar Shashat, the condemnation is harsher than any mention in all of halacha. Why does this sin merit such strong disapproval? Now we're going to explain that. Rav Matisyahu Salomon, Mashgiach of Beis Medrash Gavoha, explains that the sin of speaking during Chazaras Hashatz is not in reality more egregious than eating on Yom Kippur or desecrating the Shabbos. Rather, the level of condemnation reflects the message being expressed by the person who is engaged in conversation. He shows his great disrespect for prayer and demonstrates his innermost feelings that it is meaningless to him, for it is preempted by a conversation with his friends. Meaning, it's more important that he talk with his friend than he pay attention to the chazan when he's praying his heart out to Hashem, and that's also for you as well. You know, like if in case you didn't, certain people don't know how to pray. That's why they instituted that initially. I mean, they still do it, but there was a time when people didn't know. So like this, he'd be able to cover for the whole kahila, for everyone in the shul. Okay, such behavior severs the unique bond that prayer forges between man and the Almighty. It is this severed relationship that is, quote, too great to bear. For who can bear life without a relationship to Hashem? So basically, you're cutting your relationship to Hashem by thinking that it's more important for you to do other things and pay attention. Furthermore, should a tragedy strike this person, Rahman al-Islam, heaven forbid, causing him to turn to the potent power of tefillah, it will not be available because he no longer enjoys that special connection with Hashem. So think about this. It's midah keneged midah. You chose not to pay attention and to disregard Hashem. So when you need Hashem's help and you go and start praying to Him, it won't be available to you because you didn't regard Hashem as important when the chazan was praying. So there you go. I mean, that's why some people don't understand. Why aren't my prayers answered? Well, did you think about that? You talk in shul, you're disregarding and disrespecting Hashem. Why should He listen to you? It makes sense. It's not, Hashem's not doing anything to hurt you. You're hurting yourself and you just don't realize it. Okay? What is it about Chazaras Hashatz that is so unique that disregard for it causes such devastating results? Okay, so I actually said this just before, but now they're going to say it. The Shulchan Aruch explains the purpose of Chazaras Hashatz as follows. After the congregation has finished reciting Shemona Esrei, the Shaliach Tzibur repeats the Shemona Esrei in case someone present does not know how to pray. so he can concentrate on the Shaliach Tzibur's recitation and fulfill his duty to daven Shmona Esrei. Rabbeinu Avraham, again the son of the Rambam, states that recitation of this prayer should be contingent upon the congregation on whose behalf it is being said, attending respectfully to the proceedings. He also comments that the Chazan can curtail a Chazaras Hashatz if people are talking during the recitation because the situation displays contempt for the honor of heaven. So the Chazan could make that decision because it's basically Chil Hashem. He's trying to pray and everyone is talking over him. So you can't even, so let's say you're trying to listen to him, but everyone's talking so much you can't even hear what he's saying. So he can just stop because he realizes it's not beneficial anymore. Okay? The Talmud equates the Shaliach Tzibur who repeats the tefillah to the Kohen, who brought the offerings in the Holy Temple. The Shevet Musar explains that since tefillah takes the place of the offerings brought in the Holy Temple, one is in effect beseeching the Shaliach Tzibur to act on his behalf, just as one would say to the Kohen, please bring my offering for me. So he is the replacement. Since we don't have the temple and we don't have the offerings, we have him and we have the tefillah. Let's see. So then here a little story. Because the Shaliach Tzibur is entrusted with so vital a role, the pre-war congregation of Frankfurt, Germany would designate only a worthy individual to perform this function. This was also the case in the Vienna Kehillah and in the yeshivos in pre-war Europe, such as Mir and Kelm. So they were very strict to have a worthy person to do this. When one interferes with the recitation of Chazaras Hashatz, one interferes with the ability of the congregation to have its prayers answered. Sha'arim B'Tfilah quotes the Arizal, who is a great Kabbalist, explains that Chazaras Hashatz has a greater preeminence than the silent Shmona Esrei because it fulfills the directive of the Gemara. If one sees that his prayers are not answered, he should repeat the tefillah. And according to the Vilna Gaon, this is referring to Chazaras Hashatz. So that's the repetition, is he does it for the whole congregation. The Vilna Gaon explains further that the essence of Chazaras Hashatz is the prayer of the assembly. The Gemara states, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not spurn the prayers of the congregation, as it says, behold, Hashem is vast in wisdom and mercy, and he will not despise the numerous when they band together in prayer. The manner in which the Shemona Esrei is said reflects this concept. First, one prays quietly, like one who is afraid to display an expensive item he has in his possession. Chazaras Hashatz, however, is said aloud, with confidence that the power of the assembly will protect it from any evil forces. As previously explained, although it was originally instituted for those who do not know the text of the Shemona Esrei, Chazaras Hashatz remains the essence of Tefillah B'Tzibur. Many halachic authorities rule that one who recites Shemona Esrei at the same time as Chazaras Hashatz is considered to have prayed a Tefillah B'Tzibur, since Chazaras Hashatz is only because of the presence of the Tzibur. In fact, even when almost all those who are praying are knowledgeable in the Shemona Esrei prayer, it is still repeated on behalf of the entire congregation. The Avodas Yisrael likens Chazaras Hashatz to the giving of the Ten Commandments. Just as the Jewish nation stood silently as Moshe repeated to them the words uttered by Hashem, those assembled for prayer should stand silently as the Shaliach Tzibur repeats on their behalf the words of the Shemona Esrei. The Sha'arim B'Tfilah laments the widespread lack of awareness of the value of Chazaras Hashatz. He compares a person who is devoid of this understanding to someone who buys a powerful, high-performance sports car, lahavdil, I added that, and lacks an understanding of what it can do, never drives it faster than 5 miles an hour. Chazaras Hashatz is a high-performance vehicle. We only have to learn how to unleash its full power. So there you go. You buy something and it's something that it could go pretty fast, and you decide, oh, well, I don't want to drive it too fast. I want to take care of it, so I'm not going to rock the boat. So here you are. You're not plugging in. You're not unleashing the power. So that's why it's so important to pay attention. You don't realize the benefit it has to you as a whole, to the whole congregation when he does that, just like a Kohen. The Kohen is there for the whole, to cover everything, for all the people. Kol Am Yisrael, so we have to remember that. So this is something really to pay attention to, and I'm going to stop here and probably will continue. I'd like to finish up. There's a few more days here, and it's still very good information, so it actually might be 1 or 2 more, because this section in this praying with fire is excellent, and I hope you're getting a lot of good benefit out of it. And I hope and pray that we all do pay attention when the Chazan is saying this, and help, and we're praying together, and may this whole united prayer help to bring us to the merit of living and seeing the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days, and the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash. Amen, and thank you for watching.